welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. My co-host, as always, Tate Mathews. Week 1 of the playoffs in the books, and we're down to 16 teams per division, Tate.
If you're still practicing right now, you're better off than 95% of the state. It's a big deal. And so you're getting to practice in the cold and the elements, but still it's a blessing and a privilege and a reward for your hard work. So, and we are well represented, as usual.
As usual. Let's talk soccer first, Tate.
Wow.
Big week in soccer. And let's start off with Brentwood-Ravenwood in the championship game. Matchup number 4 of the year. Brentwood had won the previous 3. Brentwood had only given up, you know how many goals?
3.
3 the whole year. Ravenwood comes up big. Coach Brandon Mead and the Lady Raptors with a 3-2 win over Brentwood in the state championship game. Played at
Page.
Because of?
Don't know. Had to do with the weather.
Monsoon.
Monsoon, gotcha, yeah.
Semifinals, so I go to the semifinals. I need like extra pay for this. Pouring down rain, freezing. They'd kick the ball and it would go like a half a foot and just stop. It really was. And you know, maybe, and not to take anything away from Ravenwood, but that might have been to their advantage playing Houston. Yeah. The defending state champions, top-ranked team in the state. They top-ranked over Brentwood.
I think Brentwood was, weren't they?
1-2. They're 1-2.
Should have been. I mean, they were undefeated in the toughest district region in the state, giving up 3 goals all year.
Sloppy conditions. Ravenwood wins 1-0 in the semis. Brentwood just rolled Maryville. I think it was 6 or 7-0 by the time that game was over.
Boy, you loved that, didn't you?
Loved it. Loved it. So we moved the game to Page High School. It was great. Appreciate Coach Benji Gray, the folks out at Page High School, for agreeing to do that. I thought that was great for our district to host those finals, to kind of showcase our district. Also those beautiful turf fields.
Beautiful turf fields.
Which allow us to do that.
They all look good, but that royal and red really pops.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's really pretty cool.
That P in the middle is good stuff.
It is. It really is. Goal early by Tori Case from Ravenwood. Brentwood goes up 1-0, I think, after 8 minutes. Tori Case ties it 1-all. 3 minutes later, and we're in like minute, 58. Ravenwood takes the lead. And I'm going to guess, is that the first time Brentwood's been behind all year?
It has to be, right? They only gave up, unless they gave up 2 goals in one of those games, they only gave up 3 all year long. So it has to be, I would think. It's
2-1 Ravenwood. Then Emma Majors from Brentwood ties it in minute 64. You like I know these minutes, don't you?
This is impressive.
It's 2-all, but then Courtney Hill scores on a corner pass, or is it a corner kick, pass kick, right, from Anna Jar for the final score. Now we're up to about minute 70, and now it's panic time, I'm sure, for Brentwood at that point.
It's a 2-minute drill.
It is. First title for Ravenwood. They had been in the state tournament 7 times. Brentwood was going for title number 3. Yeah. That would have been their first since 2012. But great for our district. Obviously very excited for Ravenwood and Coach Mead.
Oh, it's huge. And this is his first year as the head coach. And, you know, there's so many different things about it. It's great for WCS. You know, 4 times, that's hard to do, right? Obviously, it was too hard to do. And is that too many times? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're happy for Ravenwood, Brentwood, you know, at least in baseball, if you don't lose going through, there's another game, you know. But you can't have that many soccer games. It's too much running. But I wondered if, did you go or were you out of town?
I was out of town for the final.
For the final. I wonder if it being on the turf field, obviously, that speeds the game up. It just does.
It does.
I wonder if that was you know, they had lost the previous 3. I wonder if that was to Ravenwood's advantage, just hard to beat somebody 4 times, all the above. Either way, congratulations to both of them. Unbelievable year. I don't think it takes anything away from what Brentwood accomplished.
No, I don't think so either. You know, the thing I've always wondered what people thought of. You hear it's hard to beat a team 3 times, hard to beat a team 4 times. You know, as a coach, I never bought into that. I really didn't. In fact,
do you have a choice?
2 times last year at Franklin, 2 of our opponents would beat 4 times each.
That's right.
2 really good teams, by the way.
Very good teams.
So, you know, Mr. Cardwell, one of my heroes in life at Beach, he told me this, and I thought this was pretty good. He said, not that we were doing this, but he said, look, if you and I get in a fight and I kick your butt twice, What makes me think or makes you think you're going to kick mine the third time? So
The former host of this show would call that redneck logic.
you know what? I call it common sense
That's
logic.
right. That's right.
Obviously, this time it worked out in Ravenwood's
I
favor.
want to ask you a question about how Mr. Cardwell would handle something, but it will derail this show. So, Mr. Producer, I want to make a note. This whole thing that's going on with Beach and the media and the streaming of a game, I would love to know how Mr. Cardwell would handle that show. I mean,
Assuming I could say it on air.
that would be another show. But we've got to come back to that.
Got to. All right. The other final. Nolensville comes up just short of their second state title for the year, losing to Greenville 2-1. Obviously, Coach Shelton and the Lady Knights with a great year, a valiant effort against really a storied program in Greenville.
No doubt. And what a great job he's done since he's got there. Interesting shout out to our old friend Coach Hester, who's the AD, who really, when he became the AD at Nolensville, he's the only guy he went after. He knew he wanted to go get Coach Shelton because of the success he had.
Oh,
at
I
Siegel.
didn't know that.
Yeah. And if you'll notice, Siegel was one of the teams in the AAA. He built that program up. And the guy's he knows how to build a soccer program, right? But so cool. And I mean, almost there. But, 4 years, and here they are, runner-up. And again, I would love to know if being at Page, if you've never seen it, I mean, soccer people know, it speeds the game up so much. I wonder how much that had to do with it, but that's part of it, right? You got to deal with the weather. It's like in football if you're a passing team and it's pouring down rain, right? So, but yeah, I mean, unbelievable year. I'd say Director Cup race in the small school, is that what we call it? The Division I, whatever?
Division I, Division II.
It's an uphill climb.
Yeah, it really is at this point.
Football's still playing.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Nolensville, and this is the thing that I think is so interesting and maybe frustrating at times as a spectator about soccer. Nolensville had 10 shots on goal, Greenville 5 in the first half, but yet it was only 1-1 after the Millie Smith goal for the Knights. Ended up tying it. She had a goal and an assist from Bailey Smith, but they had sort of dominated.
Yeah.
Doubled them up in terms of shots on goal, but it's about that total score.
That's right. Sometimes they just don't go in the goal, and I'm sure the Greenville goalkeeper had a lot to do with that, but, sometimes that's the way it shakes out.
How about this? You're talking about Nolensville in year 4. This is their first graduating class, right?
Correct.
Year 1, 2-9, get beat in the first round of the district. Year 2, 9-4-2, district semis.
Yeah.
Year 3, 17-2-2, state semis, and then this year, 12-4-3, state finals. Pretty impressive.
And I'd like to know those 4. I bet they were against larger schools, probably here.
Yeah, did a good job of scheduling.
If I had to bet, yeah, and I feel like that's a very similar story to what was with the baseball team last year with Coach Hudson and going to the state tournament. I'm pretty sure a similar story. Year 1 of the baseball program, 2 wins. It's really neat to watch this unfold.
It is. Here's something I'm proud of, and I know you are too. WCS after 4 sports, okay? 4 team titles, 1 team runner-up, an individual title, and that's represents 5 schools.
That's strong.
It really is strong. So obviously very proud of that. I don't think we're done yet.
And 6 teams still playing in football. Yeah, it's been a very nice fall.
Mr. Football semifinalist, which means top 5, right?
Correct.
3A, no surprise. We've been saying it all year. Logan Nardozzi, Fairview, we've been saying it all year. Tim Koutras, Nolensville, Cade Walker in 5A for Page, Andrew Mason in 6A for Ravenwood, and also Luke Akers.
Kicker of the year.
That's right.
Now, kickers, all of them.
That's right.
I still think he wins it for a couple different reasons, but he's a dual. He could be there for punter and he could be there for place kicker. So I think he's real strong. But the kicker is all 9 classifications together. I did not know this. A little nugget from our boy Thomas Kreger. Did you know this? Maybe you did. They met, they voted, they announced the semifinalists, but they already know. They don't know, but the finalist has been determined because you know where I'm going with this. The Summit Gallatin game with Briggs. It is a regular season award. Did you know that? I did not know that. So it's week 1 through 10 or 1 through 11. So anyways, they got together and all of them, the 3A class, holy smokes, that's a stacked class.
It is.
4A, 5A, and 6A. But I think out of all of them, and nothing against the other ones, I think Mason probably has the best chance. He had an unbelievable season, but that 3A, 4A, 5A classes are
Yeah, it's
stacked.
tough. It's tough.
But what an honor, regardless of how it ends up. But I think we could end up with anywhere from 1 to 4 or 3 Mr. Footballs. 4 Mr. Footballs.
Would love it.
That'd be cool.
Would absolutely love it. All right, let's go game recaps. First round of the playoffs, and we're going to start with the 2 negative games, the 2 we lost.
Yep.
And then we're going to move on to the 6 happier moments, so to speak. Fairview 7, Giles County 28. I was at that game. I'm going to tell you, no shame in Fairview losing that game. I know they didn't think they played well. Giles County, and I hate to say this out loud, but really looked like the better team to me.
Well, it's deceiving. They had a 4-6 record. I'd say them and CPA had the bragging rights of the 2 best 4-6 teams in the playoffs. But it was misleading, and we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. The Marshall County, they defeated Marshall County. That should have been a red flag to everybody. But I actually talked to Coach Osteen. He said if the quarterback plays, it's a 50-50 ball game. If not, then Fairview will roll them. But obviously Walker Dunn played. They're a different team with him in there.
A big dude too.
A big dude, and they're a good program, man. And you'll hear this name later on. Logan Nardozzi already everybody knows about, but Shea McElroy for Giles County. I think he had 183 yards. He's a dude too.
Yeah, he had a great night. He did. And really, Fairview, I thought, did a good job of staying in the game, down 14-0, really totally dominated. Then late there in the half, Anakin King hits Garrett Wooten.
Yep.
Actually, Wooten dropped the ball. It looked like he caught it to me, but I talked to Ricky Jones there at halftime, who was over warming his hand by the fire, if you've ever been to their stadium on a cold weather night. I don't even know if that's legal, by the way, but that's what he was doing.
Easier to ask for forgiveness.
But apparently...
He's like city councilman. He's probably the fire chief.
He runs the place.
Yeah, that's right.
The ball bounced, apparently, but Wooten did a good job of, showing the ball.
No instant replay in high school.
Pretending and doing all that stuff. But anyway, great year. Here, by the way, here's the gem, not nugget, gem of the week. Sorry, I hit you with my pen. Those seniors for Fairview, undefeated in region play over 4 years, 21-0. Obviously 4 region titles. Overall record during that time, 38-11. Twice to the quarterfinals, and I'm going to tell you, and I hope I'm wrong about this, with the current classification and the way their playoff setup is, it's going to be tough to ever get much. It's tough.
Yeah, it's a tough.
So give them credit for those wins that they do have and make it to the quarters.
They're the most successful class in the history of Fairview football, and there's been some successful ones. It reminds me a few years ago. There was a great Fairview team, and it ended a little prematurely in the playoffs against Giles County at Fairview. It's a tough draw. You got Giles County, you got Fairview, there was a time before the privates were all out. Good Pasture was in there when they had went out and brought in some reinforcements. But yeah, these guys can go. They can leave knowing they were a big part of the most successful class in Fairview football history. No shame in that. Beat a 6A team in Dixon County. Great year, and they got a lot of the pieces coming back next year. Yeah,
they'll be tough. Definitely be a force to be reckoned with. Franklin 7, Cane Ridge 42, and that game was almost identical score to the year before. I think the year before it was 41-6, so both teams scored 1 more point. Obviously, Franklin hung in there a little bit first quarter, only down 7-0. They start getting behind, and I tell you, and you said this last week, and I probably underestimated this, Cane Ridge is really playing well. I don't think it's a gimme for Ravenwood this week.
Oh, Coach Daniels will tell you it's not. Now, if that defensive front plays the way they played last week against Stewart's Creek, that'll go a long way. But no, Cane Ridge is Coach Woods. I think, like we talked about, Coach Woods and Coach Brunetti at Procon, they do the best job any of the guys in Pearl. They've got players. These guys just they lost so many seniors last year. And so it took them time to get going, but they're going, and they play hard for him. They're tough. They're athletic. They can run, and really no weak links. And so, we knew that Franklin could not get behind. If they did, it was going to be tough, because then you're pressing, you're doing things you don't really want to do, you're turning the ball over, and you just can't do that against Cane Ridge.
482 yards to 191. Really spread out for Cane Ridge. 255 rushing, 227 passing. 3 turnovers for the Rebels, which obviously wasn't going to work that night. Connor Bevins, some bright spots here. 7 of 15, 102 yards. He'll be back next year. Guy Lipscomb, only 35 yards on 12 attempts, so obviously Cane Ridge stuffed him a little bit. He did have, which again, I'm just so amazed at the year he had, 79 return yards on 4 attempts, which was average of about 20. So great night for him. Ian Burr, talking about our kickers.
Yeah.
He averaged 34 yards on his 6 punts, and he made his extra point. Really good year for him. And I still say with the Rebels, bright days ahead. You look at that roster and the guys who contributed, lots of younger guys. Obviously, replacing Lipscomb is going to be a tall task.
Yeah, he's a guy who really could do it all. There is no replacing him, right? Well, you have to replace him. You're not going to replicate what he did. What an athlete, man. So I want to get out and check him out in baseball, because he's going to Belmont in baseball.
Going to Belmont, that's right.
And the thing I loved is that he played hard. You know what I'm saying? Could have been easy to, maybe hang your head part of the season, but he always played hard. And I think, another compliment to the Cane Ridge defense. I mean, even in the losses, he's 150 yards rushing and 70 receiving. They obviously targeted him. They were going to take him away, and they did.
Well, and to his credit, and it's going back to what you said, him playing hard. He scored pretty late, and he could have hung his head, but he hung in there.
The season was over.
Absolutely.
But he was still playing hard, and that's in here. You don't coach that.
Let's talk about some bright times now.
Let's go.
Some bright spots. Nolensville, 47-7, like you predicted. Boat race city, popcorn city,
playoff edition,
blowout city, RIP, whatever cities you guys want to visit. Mr. Football, and this guy. It's like Lipscomb. He does so many different things. 4 touchdowns for Koutras, 2 rushing, 1 receiving, 1 on a pick 6.
Yeah, and that was 60-something yards, 70-something yards.
A bunch.
At what point? I learned this from my dad. Don't talk about things that you don't understand. All right. So who am I to question?
I may not be able to talk on this show.
Outside of flag football, I've never been an offensive play caller.
And you got reprimanded for some of that, right?
Yeah. Oh no, no question.
That's another show.
That's another show. Maybe an adult show. At what point do you say, "Hey, Darrin"? He's number 8, right?
Get on that.
Find number 8 and do not throw the ball in his direction. I don't get it. It's like, Andrew Mason. If you kick the ball off to Andrew Mason in the field of play where he can return it,
you deserve what you get.
You have nobody to blame but yourself, okay? But anyways, and also shout out to Coach Derrick for the nugget. He also had a forced fumble. Koutras did.
Unbelievable.
So
first,
and that was part of it. It was 2 things. Why I was asking Craig about the Mr. Football. I understand it week 1 through 10, but that would have gone a long way in the voting. He didn't get to. I don't know. I really don't know who won. There were so many. I hope he's not penalized by as many blowouts as they had, because that right there, there's not very many people in the state that can.
No, he was great, and continues to be. First home playoff win for the Knights. Ryan Gallardi, 5 touchdown passes. Page, 42.
Hey, real quick, and then we're moving on.
Yeah, we're getting short on time.
You know who scored a touchdown also? First playoff touchdown.
It goes without saying. Samson Johnson.
My man. All right.
Page, 42. Hunters Lane, 0. This was never a game. Bubba Johnson, 3 touchdowns, 158 yards on 19 carries. Cade Walker, pretty efficient night. 5 for 10, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, eating popcorn at the half while Coach Rathbone's going over the second half
Adjustments.
It's like-
Popcorn, a little hot cocoa.
No doubt.
Here's the thing I love about it. You
Coach,
talk
I'm
about,
taking a break. I'm off the rest of the game.
Yeah. Can I get one of those? That coat you had on. I bet he had one on. How do you eat popcorn with that? Here's what I loved about it. You mentioned this last week. 3 touchdown passes. Hayes Barnett, Miles Bond, and the man, Till Cheshire, second best or tied for first best football name with Simon Simons.
Simons. No doubt. No doubt. Great night for Page. Obviously, got a big game this week. Ooh. They will take on Summit, 27-14 winners at Gallatin. The game we're dubbing the 109 game.
109 gate, travel gate.
You know, and you got the guys out there watching may know this, but
Need to prepare gate.
They were 3 hours on the bus, and I'm going to tell you this. Everybody talked about, you know, they're on the bus and this hurt them. I think it maybe hurt Gallatin. I think it hurt Gallatin more because they're out there ready to play and they've warmed up, and now what do? So I think it, and I'm not saying that's why Summit won, but I didn't think that it definitely hurt them like some people thought.
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Obviously, when the game started, we found out.
I think there were a couple things. One, I hope I can say this. If not, we'll edit it out. Shout out to the county AD, because I did not think about this. Charter buses. Mm-hmm. If they had been on school buses, there would have been no restrooms. That would have been a problem.
A serious problem.
A public indecency. I don't know. So that was big. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I mean, we talked to Coach Coleman this weekend on the radio, and it just is. It's kind of like Glover with Franklin. I think I go back a couple years to Brentwood High with Carson Shacklett. It's a different team when number one's at quarterback. It just is.
No doubt about it.
They got after their tail.
Summit, 341 rushing yards. Destin and Keaton Wade averaged 7 as a family on 51 carries.
Yeah.
Destin, 136. Keaton, 96. And then Jacqueline Cotton had 77 yards.
Had 77.
Running that ball, man.
Yeah, and Grayson Hill had 33. I mean, they had all, you know, you got, that's 5 guys with over 33 rushing yards. They whipped them. That was the other thing, too. I did not think, and I'm glad I was wrong, I did not think they could line up and physically whip Gallatin the way they did. And they physically whipped them. And here's the scary thing. They had 3 turnovers and 15 penalties, and they still thumped.
I was going to mention that. And held Spencer Briggs,
Amazing.
68 yards on 18 carries. You heard it here, Tate. Not that I'm giving some kind of breaking news. Summit has their second win.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt.
Big game. I can't wait to that game this week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Brentwood 38, McGavick 6. No need because we're short on time. And what's there to say? The Bruins roll. Cade Granzow, 2 rushing, 1 passing touchdown to Walker Merrill. He was 11 of 18 for 120 yards. Luke Walters also with a touchdown run. Grant Shacklett with a scoop and score on a fumbled kickoff by McGavick.
It made it on Fox News, too. Saw it. Congratulations to Grant. Great kid. Homecoming king. So I was happy to see him. He's a good young man.
McGavick out of their misery now. Season over.
Let's wash the uniforms.
Wash them, fold them, put them up.
Marvin Hughes
Let's
is
move
ready.
on. Oh, he's definitely ready. Ravenwood 35, Stewart's Creek 0. The game that was played at Franklin because of issues with the Ravenwood field again. Again, those turf fields bailed us out. First in soccer, and now in this particular game. And by the way, really, I was going to mention this after talking about the Independent Smyrna game. I understand Oakland's great. There's no way Rutherford County can say that they play better football than we do in Williamson.
No.
They just can't do it.
No.
I've got 35 reasons.
35 reasons, and they were all in the first half.
First 5 possessions.
5 for 5.
The best thing that happened to Stewart's Creek was that the clock was running in the second half.
Clock was running the second half. Got to go home early. Got to catch the second half of like I did, got to catch the second half of the Summit Gallatin game. Thanks, my TV 30. I thought I was going to be seeing Andy Griffith. Didn't matter. Hey, here's the 2 most impressive things about this. 1, Amari Jelks is a heck of a player running back for Stewart's Creek. He got nowhere. I think he had under 50 yards. Number 2, think about this. If I told you Reggie Mason Andrew Mason. Sorry, Reggie's his daddy. If I told you Andrew Mason was going to have 2 receptions for 28 yards and the Raptors were going to win 35-0, you probably wouldn't take that, right? That's scary, boys. I'm telling you, front 7 on defense is scary.
Playing great. Independence 28, Smyrna 10. Dominant from the start, really, for Independence. 9-play, 76-yard drive to start the game. Ethan Cash to Jackson Campbell from 29 out on the score. Then you get a Brian Pierce interception. Independence scores again. Cash 4 of 5 on that second possession. They're up 14-0. Not that they never look back, but Smyrna never really threatened. Not really.
No, didn't have a chance. And if you can't stop Ethan Cash, you're not going to beat Independence. And, the thing I thought was great, Smyrna has a really good running back in Mikael Hartfield, who's been over 100 yards, I'd say at least 7 times this year, maybe more. And they held him to under 60, 50. Defense played well. Jackson Campbell, 10 receptions, I think, 187 yards. I don't think this Brentwood Independence game's a give me by
I don't think it is either. How about this, Smyrna? 5 straight years you've been defeated by Independence, 3 straight in the playoffs. They got to be sick of Coach Blade and Independence.
I'd say they're tired of seeing that.
Independence defense, again, I keep saying it, they forced 3 turnovers.
Underrated.
Coach
is 2 platooning and they're fresh and there's a what's the word? There's a method to the madness. He knows what he's doing.
No doubt. This week's games, here we go.
Woo.
We've only got 4.
It's real now.
It's real now. Winners obviously move on to the quarterfinals. We'll start Brentwood 9-2 versus Independence 7-4. A rematch of the Week 7 game, which Brentwood won 24-7. Now, here's what Independence is hoping. Last year, they win in the regular season. Brentwood wins in the playoffs. This year, Brentwood wins in the regular season. Independence is hoping they win the playoffs.
That's right.
It's going to be a great game. I'm like you. I think it'll be a really good game.
Yeah, I think it's better than what people think. And it sounds corny. While we're watching, I'm glad this show's free because we're watching to get this. It's going to come down to who can stop which quarterback from running, right? If you don't stop Cade Granzow in the run game, you're beat. If you don't stop Cash in the run game, you're beat, period.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. That was insightful, huh?
It really is. I'm torn because I'd like to go to that game.
It'd be a good one.
But I got to go Page Summit. I've got to do it, which, by the way, is our next game I want to talk about. Page Summit, another Week 7 rematch. Page won that game 24-14 at
Page. No, Summit.
This
That's
game
right.
is
That was the orange out game. That's right.
This game is at Page. Now, obviously, Summit had a little different situation going on with quarterback in that particular game, and still that game was tight late. 14-all late. Page scores to go up 21-14. Bubba Johnson had a big night that night, 25 carries, 143 yards. And then you'll remember this, when it was 21-14, Page has an 11-play, 78-yard drive that took 6 minutes that made the final 28-14.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm sitting there scratching my head. Obviously, Summit, you got to think Summit's offense is going to be better this time around because Destin Wade's going to be playing. Well, Destin Wade doesn't play linebacker. And so he's not going to be on there stopping those 25 carries for 183 yards. Obviously, if they're moving the ball, they keep him off the field. But this one's tough. This
I can't wait to see your pick.
I know. And
I got to figure out how I'm going to.
And we've talked about it for 12 weeks now. It's every single game, there's a big-time quarterback usually on both sides of the ball, man. I don't know who the best. If we had a draft right now, and you had first pick, who would your pick be for quarterback?
Well, the style I think I would like to play.
You're a Garcia guy.
I'm going Garcia.
Yeah, no question. But
we're running and gunning.
But there's not one of them where you'd go.
No. But again, if I were choosing a different style of play, obviously I may go with Wade or Granzow.
You and Matty D have a lot of similarities.
Nolensville, a 9-2 overall, number 2 seed. At Livingston Academy, number 1 seed, 11-0. Now, you may disagree with me here. Well, you're not going to disagree with this. Nolensville looking for their first ever second-round playoff win. And they had their first home win
last week. In a boat race city.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm not overly impressed with Livingston Academy's schedule.
Well, I went back and looked at it. All right, they got a Cookeville win. I know,
Okay.
but still, they had an Upperman
Okay, I'm
win.
still waiting. Still waiting to
Well,
be impressed.
Cookeville's a 6A playoff.
Oh, okay.
They're well coached. Okay, Upperman was a good win. I think DeKalb
And I'm a
County's
nice
good win.
person, but what's this?
That's right. That's right. And you're really good at Papa Shot. But what does that got to do?
That's
with,
right.
What does that got to do with basketball? I think it's better than you think. Now, have you been up there? It's not easy to get to. The entire town will be there. Hog eye. And it's going to be cold. They do have a Mr. Football semifinalist, but they definitely haven't played the schedule that Nolo's playing.
I'm feeling
But
you.
I think they're a little bit better than what you think they are.
We might be
This
picking
is
differently.
Dr. Qualls thumbing his nose at the Hog Eyes just because they're up there in the country near Jamestown.
I can't wait to see how you pick this game.
Yeah.
Ravenwood, 10-1 at Cane Ridge, 8-3. As we've talked about before, Cane Ridge really playing well right now. It's a Week 10 rematch, which Ravenwood won 28-15. They really dominated, though. They were up 28-2 in that particular game. It was a bad weather game, and I'm asking you what you think about this. It was raining that night, if you remember, on Ravenwood's field, which is not in great condition.
Not a great field for rain.
Who did that hurt more? Does that hurt Ravenwood more or Cane Ridge more? That wet field. Not that it's not going to happen this week, but I'm just curious.
I think it hurts Ravenwood more because I don't think it really affects Ravenwood's defense, but it definitely affects Garcia. I mean, and their offense. I mean, you know, he's a guy who, when it's dry and he's running around and flinging that thing all over the place.
Instant offense.
They're not quite as
Right.
potent. Now, I still think if they want to, they can line up and run right at people. And Tony Rice, he's at 100 yards we've never seen a Tony Rice 25 carry game plus with the two-headed monster if they wanted to with Grimes. So obviously it hurts Ravenwood more.
Grimes a 47-yard touchdown run this past week. Yeah. Going back to that Cane Ridge game, Tony Rice, 11 carries, 134 yards, and a touchdown.
Yes.
So obviously they can run the ball too. All right, let's go pick'ems. Last week, you and I and Qualls, we were all 6-2. The fans were.
They were a different 6-2.
Yes,
Yeah.
the fans were 7-1. So we're still
Did
voting.
They gain?
They gained. So you're still in first with 69 wins.
Ooh.
2 games back, the fans. So they're still close.
It's getting tough, getting tight.
4 games back. I'm probably out of it, but I'm not giving up yet.
Can't give up.
And then Qualls, he needs to give up. He's a full 6
He
games
needs
back.
to stick to the drone racing league.
Keep going to WCS CO Athletics and place your votes. Only 4 games this week. Again, I know we're short on time, Mr. Producer. We're going to be quick here. Brentwood versus Independence. I'll go first on this one.
Go.
I think it's tight.
It is.
I think it goes down to the wire.
The wire. Does this mean it comes down to a kick?
Maybe. I'll just say I agree with that. And I believe in the Brentwood kicker.
I would too if I were you.
I'm going Brentwood, but I'm talking a tight one.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm going Brentwood, but I think it's much tighter than what people think. I just think they got a little more. They got one more bullet in their gun, in their revolver than Independence.
Nolensville at Livingston Academy. I don't care about red eye gravy.
Are you going boat race?
No boat race, but I'm going Nolensville with the win.
I'm with you. Nolensville gets the win, but they're better than you think they are.
Ravenwood, Cane Ridge.
You asking me?
Yes.
Ravenwood. I think Ravenwood's, and this is including when they beat whoever, Pulaski Academy or whatever, No Punt City. I think Ravenwood's playing the best they've played all year. That's pretty scary.
I'm going Ravenwood. And now our final game, which I think is the game of the week. Page versus Summit. I've got it.
Go.
I'm going first.
I know.
I hate to pick against the Patriots. I said it a few weeks back. I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going against Old Sparty. They're going to reverse the fortunes. They lost at Summit. I think they come out on top at Page. I'm going Summit.
You think you know who I'm picking, don't you?
I think you're picking Page.
I am picking Page.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Not.
So I did. I don't only think, I knew.
Oh yeah, you did know exactly. I really thought. I mean, how could you pick against Summit after they beat Gallatin? I just think there's something about this Page team, man.
And by the way, I agree with. I've been around that team a little bit. I went out to see Coach Rathbone, And I'm impressed with those kids.
Without a doubt. And, Summit win, Shelbyville win. I'm not so sure Shelbyville doesn't beat Beach.
They might.
They're a good football team, man. Good football. I wish we had that David Lipscomb game back, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
Tate, that game could separate us. If you win that game, it's over.
It's over.
It's over anyway, probably.
I need you. Cade Walker, I need you, brother. I need you.
Another great show, Tate. I appreciate you being here.
It's always fun.
We'll be talking about the quarterfinals next week.
It's going to be fun.
We'll see you then on Sports
Go
Connection.
to a game.
Definitely go to a game.